welcome to Ladies Talking Leafs. I'm Chris.
And I'm Sil.
We're at the halfway point of the season, and we've also made it to another halfway point because this is also our first full season of our podcast covering the Leafs.
I know, isn't that amazing? I can't even believe how time flies, and we are so excited to be coming up on a big accomplishment for our show, with this being our 47th published episode in total, and we are only 3 away from the big 5-0, which will be our mid-March episode.
Yeah, for sure. We've definitely come a long way from our first episode in September 2019, and we want to keep it going. To do that, we need you, our listeners, to keep on listening and subscribing to our podcast, and please leave us a review. Subscribers to Apple and Spotify can leave a comment or a rating on our show. It doesn't take long at all, believe me, I've tried it, and it helps get our show noticed as a source for Leaf content.
That's right. And another way to help us out is by visiting our Ko-fi page at ko-fi.com. You can follow us there, and if you choose to, you can support us by buying us a coffee. Any donation goes towards helping us produce the show and making it even better for you. So you can find the link to our Ko-fi page on all our show notes or in any of our social media profile pages.
Yeah, so our Ko-fi page also has just to give some background info on it, it does have a gallery of different photos from when we started the podcast. So check it out. It's fun too, if you just want to look at some different photos that we've had in the last couple of years. So just a couple of quick Leaf notes before we get into the show. Congrats to Josh Hosang on getting named to Team Canada's men's Olympic team. Woohoo!
Yeah. That's awesome for him. And yeah, definitely congratulations to him. And it's interesting to note that the reason why he is one of the players that is able to go to the Olympics is because he isn't signed to an NHL contract. So because he got the one-way deal in the AHL only, he's able to go. And there was some talk that the Leafs were going to sign him, but once the Olympic possibility came up, it was decided that it's a better opportunity for him to go there, at least for now. So it's. I think there are some waiver concerns around whether they can sign him or not. But he could be, like a pickup for us right before the playoffs. Yeah. If we need some fresh blood.
Yeah, and not cost us anything, which is always good. Mm-hmm. But and another bit of good news that we found out later in the week was hearing that Nick Robertson is back and practicing with the Marlies. That's a name, I guess, like a couple of seasons ago in the playoffs with that series in the bubble with the Blue Jackets that everybody was so excited about him. Anyhow, he's basically missed all of the Marlies season since he fractured his right fibula back in October. But now he's started practicing with the team, so that's good news.
Yeah, and he looked pretty good in practice too. I saw some video of him scoring in the scrimmage. So hopefully that means he's settling in nicely, and maybe he'll be available to help us out in the stretch drive or in the playoffs again this year. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get into the show, starting with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then we're going to roll the Ladies Talking Leafs highlight reel. And we'll end off, as usual, with the third period. So without any further ado, let's talk Leafs.
The good, the bad, the ugly. All right. So I'll start it off as usual. And my good is Mitch Marner. I really hope Leaf fans just at least haven't found anything to chirp him about lately, actually, because now that whole power play goal situation is over. He actually scored on the power play. I forget how many games it was. It was something ridiculous, like 90 something or maybe over 100 games he didn't score on the power play. So that's done with. And ever since that's been done, Leaf fans haven't been complaining about him too much because last 5 games, he has a goal streak going. So, last night in, Detroit, cause we're recording on Sunday. So last night in Detroit, he got the empty netter. So that was good.
Yeah, I think that was actually a power play goal too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So he's adding. Yeah. So
he's becoming
so
our specialty team specialist right now.
Yeah, and it's funny because they, even on the media, that they were talking about it at the time, and they're saying like there was no spot for him on the power play. It's like, well, now he obviously has a spot, sort of thing, since coming back from the COVID, I guess, is the last thing.
I don't know about you, but does he look more confident with his shot right now than you've ever seen him?
Since he wired that one, I think it was against St. Louis that he had that it was unbelievable, the shot. You didn't even think it was him that was shooting it. But so ever since then he's definitely, I guess, more confident with the shot. That's
no, and I mean, I think that is like a huge thing, because if he's like got more confidence with that and he's more of a threat to shoot and he's so creative, then that just lends to way more unpredictability for the opposition as to, what he's going to do. So, and it leaves it open for like other players to, benefit off of that also, because it's a distraction, right?
Sure. Yeah. And he's also a shorthanded threat too, because he's
100%.
got the so that I think we missed him on the PK,
for sure.
Definitely when he was injured for that time. So yeah, and then I don't know if you saw it, I retweeted it on Twitter, but the NHLPA had like a Q&A with players. So, and Mitch Marner was one of them. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here as to what you think Mitch Marner said to these questions.
Putting me on the spot. Okay, because I did not watch this. So.
What's his favorite band, dead or alive, that he wants to see?
Favorite band, dead or alive, that he wants to see? I don't know.
Couldn't believe he actually said this.
Bon Jovi?
No. It was Justin Bieber.
Oh my God. Really? Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty bad.
I mean, he gets to see him all the time, pretty much whenever they want.
Yeah.
So.
All right. And then I got two more for you. And I think because you're into these things, or your family is too, I think they are anyways. His favorite superhero. I figured you might know.
To me, I would say Spider-Man.
No, he said Thor.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Maybe it's just because he reminds me more of like Tom Holland, Spider-Man. But yeah, Thor's pretty cool, I guess, for Marvel. He's funny. So maybe it's the humor part.
Yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Because I have no idea. See, like I said, you knew.
Yeah.
And the last one is his favorite cartoon character growing up.
Favorite cartoon. Okay. So we have to think about how old he is. Favorite cartoon character growing up. SpongeBob.
You're right. Yeah. That's what he said. So there you go. So yeah, Mitch Marner's my good, and that's the kind. He's fun, right?
Yeah.
Like this is the type of thing, and he brings the energy to the group. Like JT said that after the couple of games this week. So
well, I think we've said many times that if he's not having fun, he's not playing well. Yeah. And I don't know which comes first, the fun or the playing well. But basically, yeah, if he's having no fun, then things are not going well.
Yeah. And the team record with him in the lineup is something ridiculous. Like, I guess this is not including last night, but I think it was as of after the Wednesday game, it's like 23-1 this season. Mm-hmm. So obviously he's not being a detriment by being in the lineup. So
no, for sure not. And I think that he, it's funny. I do think that his energy, and it's like you really do need both him and Matthews, but somehow when Austin's not in the lineup, we can get by a little bit better. And part of it, I guess, is because of his penalty killing also. It's like that's just like a big hole, because Austin doesn't play on the penalty kill. So anyway.
All right, what's your good?
So my good, and it's actually kind of interesting because I picked this person before yesterday's game. So I will just, put that out there. However, I decided to stick with him because I did see some good things last night, even though the goals against wasn't great. So by that, you might guess that I chose Petr Mrazek. It's interesting because the last episode, he was my bad, but I really saw a great game from him on when we played the New York Islanders, and he only let in one, and he looked so confident in the net that night, and he really played great. So I really thought, give credit where credit is due. And then last night he let in 4, which is not great. However, he got behind the 8 ball quickly with that quick goal at the very beginning, but he did hold us in the game. And especially in the third period, he made that really key save that kind of kept.
He played really well in the first period, actually.
Yeah, he
that
did.
First goal or whatever. But after that he settled down. But then for whatever reason, the whole team was crap in the second period. It wasn't good. And and then the third period, that was the best period basically. And they all of them played well. And he made that one key save in the third because basically he was being shelled up until that point, and he had 35 shots on him last night, and the majority of those were probably in the first and second period. So we kind of chipped away in the third period, and then ended up overtaking the shots somehow. But anyway, to be fair to him, he hasn't really played.
No, I know, which is why I think that even though, the fact that a lot got behind him yesterday, that was, a team situation more than really on him. And I still saw really good things that, if he plays more, and it seems like they're going to be kind of doing more of the tandem thing now, because I know that Campbell's going to play on Monday night against New Jersey, and then Mrazek will play on the back-to-back against New Jersey. So I think that like you said, he needs more reps and to get comfortable. And then that will be good. And that will potentially bode well for us because according to Jeff Merrick, there have been calls about him. So even though the Leafs are not shopping him by any stretch, but they are getting phone calls for his services. So
that's what I was going to say too. I don't think that doesn't help him either.
No.
If he hears those, players never say that they listen to the media and all that and trade rumors, but I don't think that helps for his psyche either. But, and it's only been the last little bit that's been happening that, I guess the trade talk has been happening, but we need him, and we need him to be good, basically,
100%.
right? Too. So, and Keefe needs to put more trust in him too, to play him more. And definitely with the schedule coming up in February, they're going to be playing a lot. So it's definitely going to be a tandem, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the bad. And what do you got for your bad?
So my bad, I couldn't actually think of, except for last night in the Detroit game where we did have some bad moments there in the first and second period. But the thing that I picked up before that were the New York Islander fans. These fans, I don't understand. I know they're a passionate fan base, and so are we. We've been around a lot longer than them. And but it's been 4 years since John Tavares left the organization. Get over it. I don't know. I was trying to think to myself if I would have done the same thing. Let's say if Wendell Clark chose to do that, I would have been pretty upset. I know that.
Think about the closest equivalent that we have is what happened with Mats and the Muskoka Five.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but even so, did we I don't recall when he ended up going to Vancouver. Did we boo him? No, he got a freaking standing ovation when he got his video tribute that brought him to tears. You know?
Yeah.
And we as much as he's not our favorite player by a long shot, we've never booed him when he came back. Well, maybe a little, but
we just sat We just sat silently.
Yes.
I do remember being silent.
But
yeah. But anyway, we weren't booing or because you can't. I mean, the guy obviously he's
what you're going to say right now is the point.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, because he was obviously a great Leaf, and but yeah, that's about it. But I don't know, John Tavares, or I just think they're just taking it too long. Basically, these the Islander fans, like he gave them 9 seasons, right? And of his basically probably his best seasons there. And yeah, and that's about it.
And
so
that is also like he was their only really good thing that he carried that team when they really had not much else going on and kind of crazy ownership and all of this stuff with the whole thing with Brooklyn and all of that. Those were like difficult times for the franchise, and he gave it his all. So like I agree, it's really it's about time that they just drop that. All right,
yeah, exactly.
So
all right, so what's your bad?
My bad is basically the schedule. Now I know that there's really nothing that could have really been done. I don't know. Maybe there could have been a more creative solution, but just the fact that there's been so much time between games and all the postponements and all the uncertainty, it's like it's bad enough for us as fans, but I can't even imagine, for the team, how that must have been. And especially, I do think it like totally affected our goaltenders not having like the real regular schedule. So I know we're going to be moving into a more crazy type of schedule, but I actually think that that's probably going to be better for us overall, playing more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was looking at the standings and the games played, and basically in our division in the Atlantic, there's only Ottawa basically has played two games less than us, 38 games, and then it's us 40. So we have 5 games in hand on Tampa and Florida, and we have 1 game in hand on Boston. And Boston, I was just watching part of their game against Dallas, and of course those announcers, I can't stand them, the New England announcers from New England Sports Network. I forget what the guy's name is, but anyways, he was like, "Oh well, we probably can't catch Florida and Tampa, but Toronto is definitely a possibility." And I'm like, sure, whatever. We haven't even played you guys yet, and you haven't seen our Scarborough boy, Michael Bunting.
Yeah, that's going to be a matchup that I'm looking forward to. The Bunting-Marchand matchup, because I think that Marchand is the kind of guy, as much as he's a pest and he likes to dish it out, he totally can't take it. So if someone gives him that taste of his medicine, he's just going to go ballistic, and I cannot wait for that. That's going to be handle.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, but it's going to be packed in for the schedule in February, like playing every other night. And I mean, it's a dream for us as fans, obviously, because we've been bored in between. Like it's all, but then I started thinking to myself, this is the way it was back in the day. It was Saturday night and Wednesday night.
True.
I'm like, that's the way it was when we were kids, right?
Oh, we're so spoiled now.
Now we're so spoiled. We're used to seeing a game on every night on TV or every other night, whatever. But I don't know. It's gonna be jam packed, and we just got to stay healthy too. That's the thing, right? And going back to the goaltender situation, like this is where Mrazek is going to get his opportunity to basically to start to be a part of the team, right? Like to try and make, because he needs to get that chemistry with the team too, and hopefully
that is actually a really, really good point, because that's the other thing too, is that he got injured so early on, and when you're injured, you're not with the team on a day to day, right? So yeah, like that's definitely for sure put a dent in him being able to transition well into, the whole team dynamic. So that's a really good point. Yeah. So let's move on. And we both agreed that there really wasn't anything too ugly to discuss this time around. So
So lately, the ugly part of it, hopefully it won't show up, but it probably will. There's lots of ups and downs to the season. So, and February is going to be busy. So we'll probably have an ugly maybe in February. Who knows?
Hopefully not.
But hopefully not. Mm-hmm. Yes. And really, actually, with the schedule, it really hasn't helped us a lot for our highlight reel segment because there's so few games to choose from. And I think this will be the first time that we actually have 2 highlights from one game. So let's roll it.
All right. So coming in at number 3, we have former doghouse holder Pierre Engvall. So
it's Sill's buddy.
Yeah. He's making his debut on the highlight reel with his buzzer beater versus the Islanders, which was a really beautiful goal. So it's just totally shows what he can do if he keeps his head in the game. So in hockey, there are not too many times when there's a goal scored at 19:59 of the period. So definitely that was a major highlight.
Yeah. And he's over the last 5 games, he's got 5 points over the 5 games. He just didn't have a point versus the Ducks, but he's got a point in every other game. So, and it's making it harder. I tweeted it out actually, and nobody answered, but I figured it out myself. Where is Nick Ritchie? I thought, did he go to Robidoux Island or something? But because nobody's talked about him.
Yeah.
And because he came back from the COVID protocol, and I thought for sure he'd get in a game by now, but Engvall is making it, because I think we both agree it's probably Engvall that's coming out if anyone. Mind you, maybe whatever, Spezza hasn't, let's say, been producing a lot, although he seems to be coming back a little bit. So the energy level of him or Wayne Simmons, maybe they'd be one of the players to give Ritchie a chance. But for now, Ritchie's in the press box. And I don't know, we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, Pierre Engvall has definitely come out of our doghouse for now. Yeah. So number 2, we've already talked about him. It's Mitch Marner. Yeah, and it's his shorthanded breakaway goal versus the Islanders. Mitch is on a roll, like we noted in the last segment, and it was funny. I watched the shot again, the shorthanded goal versus the Islanders, and he kind of fanned on the shot, but it went in. And he said he was actually planning to do that. So
yeah, no, I think he was being sarcastic there, Chris.
Oh, you think so?
Definitely.
Oh, maybe. Also, it was his second shorty that he scored versus the Islanders this season. So that's a pretty big thing.
Oh yeah, and like I said, he's becoming our basically our specialty team specialist. So
yeah,
you can't complain about that. So in our number 1 spot, 3 power play goals in a game versus the Ducks. The last time they scored 3 power play goals in a home game was February 27th versus the Oilers in 2019. So it's just too bad that there are no fans in the building this time to see it.
Yeah, for sure. And our power play has been rolling. It's number 1 in the NHL. Yeah, 31% on as of Sunday today when we're recording. And Edmonton is second at 28%, and St. Louis is third at 28%. So we got a few percentage points up on them. But it's that was quite interesting. And we had in that game, we only had those 3 goals. So we didn't have any even strength goals, which was quite interesting.
No, that's unusual too. I actually find that they are a lot less predictable now, and they're moving around all over. So they are making it really difficult for the opposition.
Yeah. Okay. And yes, we have a tie. So the tie goes to Scarborough. The tie for number 1 on the Ladies Talking Leafs highlight reel is Michael Bunting with the hat trick versus the Wings last night. So our initial first place was the power play goals, the 3 power play goals. But then last night, I mean, you could not, that performance by Michael Bunting, that was he basically at the end of the second period, whatever he was doing at the end when he had that scrum was some of the Red Wing players, that's basically what I think like got us going for the third period. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he got definitely an energy bug for us, like for sure. Yeah. And like I've said before, go ahead.
No, another energy guy, which I love this when the players, like former players, tweet out or put stuff on Instagram. Darcy Tucker last night, he tweeted, "Number 58 is having a night," and he like.
Well, don't you think though? Like, I guess the one thing is that Darcy had like a more of a nasty streak in him, but they're kind of similar because. Because Bunting is like always kind of hovering around the net, the dirty areas. And he also chirps a lot, which we've already discussed. And Darcy used to do that a lot. The only difference is that Tucker had that kind of nasty streak where he would really go after people. And that's not really Bunting's game. But yeah, no, it was pretty impressive. And he just was like a shark. You know?
Yeah. And the last Leaf, Lance Hornby of the Toronto Sun tweeted this out. Last Leaf with a hat trick in Detroit was Wendell Clark in March of 1994.
Well, that definitely puts him in good company then.
So that puts him in good company there. Yes. Yeah.
So like we said earlier, the upcoming schedule is going to be a very busy one. And there's also the Olympics coming up, which we're going to talk about in the third period.
Yeah, the third period. This is going to be fun, actually. So we're going to focus on Team Canada's women's hockey team because for them, the Olympics are basically their Stanley Cup, right? It's best on best for them. And but just to mention, the men's team is scheduled to play their first game on February 10th versus Germany. But the women's team's first game is on February 3rd, which is coming up this week versus Switzerland.
So I'm pretty sure the women are kind of happy that the NHL players are not going to be going because it's definitely going to mean more eyes on them for the tournament. So this year, the women's team are showcasing the best players in the game. So it's definitely going to get a lot more attention. So this year, Team Canada has 10 rookies in their lineup. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do.
Yeah. So, Team Canada is avenging or going to try to get revenge for the loss in Pyeongchang, the shootout loss to the Americans. And basically, it's still, from what I've read, it's the U.S. and Canada, basically. That's who's going to come out to this to play for the gold medal unless some huge surprise happens. Finland is the only other team that's actually with the women's game that's come up in that. But it's going to be... With Team Canada, I guess the way I see it with the women, it's a good blend of youth and experience with the 10 rookies in the lineup. So it's good to see that younger or players coming in with their first experience, so that they can start learning and it passing it along, basically the experience. So the one person that I'm looking forward to seeing how she does is Erin Ambrose. And so she's from Keswick, Ontario. And from what I saw, she was a final cut in the last Olympics for Pyeongchang. So this is her first time, and she's a defenseman, and she really worked hard. She thought, I guess, the last time when she did get cut, she thought that she needed to improve on her skating because she's really like a playmaking defenseman. So now that she's worked on that, and she ended up making the team. So she's excited about that. And she was on 2 previous world championships for Canada. So she's worked herself to get to this point, to get this goal. So it's exciting. And I know I was listening to TSN's Cheryl Pounder, who's a former Olympian herself, a defenseman, and she was saying that that's somebody to watch for on defense because they only have I guess their top pairing on the D are Jocelyn Larocque and Renata Fast, and so they have previous Olympic experience, and that's their top pairing. But otherwise, the bottom four are the second pairing and the third pairing are new. Basically, they're going to be rookies on the D.
It's
so
interesting that you mentioned that, because I was going to talk about a couple defensemen as well. Just an interesting story. Two girls, Ella Shelton and Claire Thompson, and interestingly, they basically grew up playing each other as rivals, but then they played together as a pairing on Team Ontario teams. And so now they've kind of been reunited. And so that's sort of another interesting pair to watch. And I think this is their first Olympics as well. And one interesting thing from Ella Shelton is that she basically got the bug for, potentially making it all the way to the Olympics when she watched the team play in Salt Lake, and her mom commented that she watched them win and said, I'm going to do that one day. So she grew up on a farm, and she takes a lot from that farm work ethic. So that's another pair to watch, I guess, see how they do.
Yeah. And it was funny. Before we came on the show, I was telling Sil that I went in the research for the show and for the Olympics. I went on and I typed in like top 10 women's hockey players. And so I'm looking through, I found something and I'm looking through it and I'm thinking to myself, why is there the top 2 players were Russian players for women? And I had never heard that Russian had improved so greatly to have the top 2 women. But then little did I know, I went back and I looked at the URL of the and it's the top 10 beautiful hockey women.
Yeah. And I find that really, really, really hilarious, because
I missed the word beautiful.
Yeah. Because, do you ever see the top 10 hottest male hockey players countdown? And if we were to do one of those lists, what kind of flack would we get? Yet it's still okay at this point to be putting out a top 10 most beautiful female hockey players thing.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of hilarious and ridiculous. So for me, the only other person that I'm actually a pretty big fan of Sarah Nurse. I actually have her T-shirt, so I'm going to wear that when I'm watching. And
cool.
and we still have some pretty key veterans on the team as well. So,
for sure, Natalie Spooner, obviously, and Marie-Philippe Poulin is the captain, right? So everybody knows her and what she's done. She's Captain Clutch, basically, and Melody Daou as well, who's won the MVP in like World Championships previous, and so. We got a lot of top players, like I guess the U.S. Sil was saying, maybe I shouldn't mention this, but anyways, the U.S. ladies. I could, as I was looking for the top women's players, I went and looked to a legit site for top women players, and I saw like Hillary Knight on the U.S. team. Most people know her, and Kendall Coyne Schofield, and of course Amanda Kessel, Phil's sister.
Yep.
Is in there too. So
I am okay with it, because we do want to promote women in the game. So for that, I will allow it. But once the Olympics start, that's it. All bets are off.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. And and just a reminder too, the gold medal game for the women is on February 16. So get ready for that. That'll be exciting. And but the Olympics aren't just about hockey. So we're just going to ask each other a couple of questions here. What is another winter sport that you like watching, Sil?
For me, I actually like some of the extreme sports stuff. So like snowcross, ski cross. I love watching those races. I find them so exciting. I love watching like moguls and aerials. So those I think are what catch my eye the most, other than the hockey. And what about you?
All right. Yeah, because I like, I watch figure skating. My mom likes figure skating, so I got used to watching that. And I do like, I like the downhill skiing too. I don't know. I think it's crazy. Some of the going down those massive mountains sometimes. It's just like, wow. I was like, how do they do that? So yeah, those are the couple of ones. And I watch speed skating too.
Oh yeah, I do
like
love speed skating, especially short track. It's like that I just find is like totally
and it's just
nuts. So yeah, I do get right into it.
It's just unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable with the speed skating how they're like, it's almost like they're gonna like go right over.
I know,
sort of, like cause to
like
with
they're
the track,
really
when they're on the
have
side
strong
or whatever.
ankles.
Yeah, that's for sure. So yeah, but
so if you were gonna be an Olympian,
yes,
what sport do you think you would try if you could try one of these Olympic sports?
If I could actually try it and actually do it, it would be bobsleigh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know, like. Yes.
That's interesting.
I don't know why. I'm like I would actually, even if I, not the skeleton one where there's like nothing around you, but bobsleigh. I know, cause I don't really like, what is it? Roller coasters or anything, but, I don't know. I just thought that it's kind of like they're all tucked into that little car. So it's, I don't know. It seems like kind of fun. So I'd try that. I wouldn't like an individual sport though. Like it would be a team, like a 4-team one sort of thing. I wouldn't do an individual one because I don't like being on my own.
Okay, well, I actually do think like I would do an individual sport. I think I actually like cross country skiing. So, and then when I thought about it a little bit more, I actually like the whole thing with the cross country, but the shooting as well. So I would probably go for the biathlon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I like that whole idea of having that. I just find that it's just such a mental game because you've got to give it your all with the skiing but you have to calm yourself down, enough to be able to take accurate shots. So I think there's a lot of challenge there. So I think that's probably what I would go for.
Interesting. Yeah, it's I don't know, I like I don't know why. I watch bobsleigh as well. So
yeah, I watch everything. Like pretty much our family is like when the Olympics are on, we're Olympic junkies and it's pretty much on 24/7 and we watch everything we can. So
yeah, and coming from Beijing, though, who knows? Like, that's basically it. You have to watch it 24/7 with the time change and everything for the events. Yeah. The
only good thing is that when you get up in the morning, it's already on. So, like, you could be, if you got some time on your hands.
Yeah. But, but again, we're promoting our women's Team Canada ice hockey team. Hopefully the men do too. Although I heard today their coach Claude Julien was supposed to be the coach of the men's team, and he fell.
Oh,
apparently he broke his ribs in Switzerland. He was coaching, I think, in Davos, Switzerland. So he's not going to be able to go, and there's going to be a replacement for him. So. But hopefully the men's team, Josh Hosang, like we mentioned earlier, is going to be on there. So hopefully they do well. We'll cheer for all of our Canadian athletes. Yay!
And there is, I think, the biggest female. It's the biggest female contingent, I think, on a Winter Olympics team that they've ever had. So it's going to be a girl power Olympics in the winter too.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's get back to the Leafs for a bit with their upcoming schedule. All right. Yeah. So, Sil, what do we got for February?
So, like we were mentioning, it's going to be pretty busy, but they're going to be easing into February because of the All-Star break, which is coming up this upcoming weekend on February 4th with the skills competition and February 5th with the actual All-Star game. After that, the Hurricanes are here on February 7th. Freddie's return to Toronto. I really hope that they do, they're probably going to do a video tribute for him, but I really hope that they do another one when we actually are in the building.
Doing another one. Yeah.
And then we go out west again to Calgary, Vancouver, and Seattle. So that's what's coming up in the immediate future.
And I think that the Calgary and Vancouver games are the makeup games for the ones that were earlier in I think it was January, or was it in December? I forget. But those two games we didn't do. Maybe it was December, right? Because it was Edmonton that we that was our last game in December that we, after that, we ended up being on the COVID protocol thing. And it's going to start to get busy after that for sure. And Freddie's return, like you said, it'll be nice to have fans in the building and for them to do something. I think they will, even for Zach Hyman as well. They'll hopefully do something next year when, assuming we don't play Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final. You never know. And then we wouldn't be doing no video tribute in those cases. Not at that time, only during regular season. But yeah, it's at least it's going to start to get busier, so there'll be more for us to talk about.
So before we go, just an update on when fans will be allowed at Scotiabank Arena, February 21st. There'll be a 50% capacity, and full capacity is supposed to be March 14th. So it will be nice to have fans in the building again.
Yeah, just like we were just saying that with the, especially for these returning players too, that spent a long time here. But another update is to just check out our new website. We're working on adding content, so please keep checking the website for that. And for now, you can check out the interview that we did as guests as Hockey Time Machine. And of course, you can listen to our show with all of our episodes that are available on the website as well.
And another reminder, please leave us a review to let us know what you think of the show. We definitely want to know what you think and how you think we can even make it better. So you can easily give us a review or rating on Apple and Spotify, and it's important for our show to get more exposure, and we thank you for taking the time to do it.
Thank you. And don't forget to check out our Ko-fi page as well. Again, it's kofi.com/LTL1917. And please consider buying us a coffee. As always, we want to thank our healthcare workers and everything that they do. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite app. You can also find us on YouTube and Facebook podcasts.
So in the meantime, stay safe and well, everybody. And as always, go Leafs go.
Go Leafs go.